All right, here we go. Wednesday to Friday lifts right here. First, we're starting with pin press. Like I said last week, I'm gonna do it kneeling for now. There's no other real way I can do it, but I just think that kneeling's gonna generally have more carryover to my actual standing press than the seated without back support. So I did 2 sets just while it's still this lightweight. There's only 225. At some point, even though it's kneeling, I imagine that this being a partial movement, it is going to get heavier than my true pressing. So once it hits that, I'll drop down to 1 set of 5. But while it's still fairly light, I figure I'd do 2 sets. I would notice with the first set that I did this thing where I'm like resetting my elbows almost in between reps. And I was trying to avoid that there with the second set, not shift the elbows around and kind of take that pause in between reps. This is RDLs 440 for 2 sets of 10. The only noteworthy thing here is I'm doing this in lifting shoes rather than barefoot. Doing my deadlifts in lifting shoes for a while just to see how it feels. I had known that this is like the general starting strength recommendation, and obviously that's where I take a lot of my training methods from. But listen to one of the Q&A shows, and Ripito made a fairly compelling argument to at least give this a shot for a while. I didn't really notice any difference in like the muscles that were more or less fatigued, beat up, sore, whatever, than when I do it barefoot. So to this point, not much of a difference I'm noticing. 77.5 pounds, 4 sets of 4. I believe I said in the last video where I had my intensity pull-up session in, that because it was a really sloppy set of 5 and arguably the last rep didn't count, it'll just be top sets of 4, and then the volume days is going to be 4 sets of 4. So, and they're moving fairly well. Pull-ups are always good, and not really a huge priority of mine, but they're fun. Here we go, 270 for 5 singles on the press. That, there was some knee movement there, I'm not going to lie to you, but the other 4 were clean, so I'm not mad about it at all. They generally looked a bit better, you'll notice, as the session went on. So that, that might have been like the worst there, and then 4 and 5, I believe, moved real well. Pretty clean, and the 5th one may have even been the best. I'm gonna gun for 275 for 5 singles next week, and if that goes well, then 2 Fridays from now, I will be attempting the 300. I'll do it basically ascending style again, and I'm pretty confident that I'm gonna have it. This is 282.5, 3 sets of 5 bench. Not close grip, but not wide grip. We're somewhere in the middle here. Nothing special here. Really just maintenance work on bench. I was thinking about making a 5-pound jump, but I just decided to be a little bit more conservative with it. Really, the benching is, like I said, it's done for maintenance. It's an accessory to the overhead pressing. Welcome to another car talk. Just got done my lift, some singles with 270 on the press, and then some bench. I widened my grip a bit and wrapped my thumb around the bar for once, so I got some reasoning for that. Maybe get into that at a later date, but that is what it is for now. 282 for 3 sets of 282.5. 3 sets of 5. Next week will probably be 275 for 5 singles, and then 2 weeks from now I'll do another ascending session and take a gander at Take a gander at 3 hundo. That's going to be, that's the mystical number. Can't wait to hit 300. And then by the end of the year, I have my sights set on 315. But for now, just get over 3 hundo. And then, keep pressing 4 days a week. Really work hard on it. I expect to see some pretty good gains in the short term just with the increased volume and frequency. So, what to discuss this time? I have I have some gym boomer stories that I wanted to share. Do that. So, oh shit, I fell. I've trained in a lot of gyms in my about 6 years of training now. I've been at Anytime Fitness, Crunch Fitness. I've never been into Planet Fitness. I've done day passes here and there, powerlifting gyms, university gyms. For a while, in early 2021, I was going to this... what could I call it? Like a blue-collar, hole-in-the-wall type gym. Put it that way. I won't say the name of the gym or name any names here, but, just in case anybody watching this that knows me might figure out just what it is. But, oh, man. So, it's in a more rural part of my county here. Maryland, and so you get a lot of construction guys. The guy that owns the gym's a bit of a blue collar guy himself, and it attracted some funny personalities, right? So the gym owner, he did this thing that you'll know that a lot of when you meet boomers in the gym, they always have to inflate their stories and make it like the craziest thing, and so he did that a couple times, and it's never like. They always got to inflate it and make themselves like, yeah, I broke world records without anybody seeing type things. So he tells me that one day he has these buddies that bet him that he can't squat 315 for 20. They both put up $50 that he can. And he gets under the bar 315. He squats it for 50 reps. Oh man. If you go to a public gym, let's say you go to a powerlifting gym, okay? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. You go to a gym with a bunch of strong motherfuckers that are all roided up. You are going to meet a handful of people that ever even take a run at high rep squats. And I'm talking 20 plus reps, okay? The people that you meet that do it, a good number is going to be, in the 300, like I've got a good 20 rep squat. I'll say that. It's definitely good compared to my 1RM because it's something that I trained for a while. I conditioned myself for it. I've got the muscle memory. I'm good at grinding out those long sets a lot better than most people. My pain tolerance is higher. It's a learned skill. So like 300s, you're going to be like, yeah, that's pretty good. 400s is going to be incredible. Now imagine what you have to do to get to be able to squat 315 for 30 or more reps. Now 315 for 50. We're talking that you are squatting 500 plus pounds for 20 reps. And this guy, he was like a decently built older guy, but am I to see that in your prime as a young man, you were just a Tom Platz that, nobody really paid attention to? I don't think so. So that's a pretty, they always got to do that. And, he said his son, he goes, yeah, there's this one guy that's training at my gym one time, and he's doing overhead press, and he goes over and he strict presses 315. Okay, sure. Dan Green's lifetime PR, I think, is 3:15. So you just got a Dan Green walking around your gym. And he goes, my son goes up to the bar and he goes, oh, you're pretty happy with that. Does it for a set of 4, no warm-up. They always got to fucking inflate the shit. You know what I'm saying? And their son is always just as strong as they are, if not stronger. And that is the funny thing with boomers. Now, there's another guy that goes to this gym. Definitely a blue-collar guy. I have no idea how old he was. Because his spouse is significantly younger than he was. Or seemingly. And this guy, he had if you watch UFC, you know, even if you don't, okay, go ahead and look up Mike Beltran. He had the Mike Beltran beard. And he was a pretty jacked up guy. He had this shoulder injury, and he would just fucking walk around in a slingshot. And he's teaching one of my buddies how to bench one time because he sees some potential in my friend. So he's like, you know, I'm going to show you how to bench 405. He's working up to 405 himself, and he tells him, don't go past 90 degrees. So only bench to the point where your elbow is like this. So several inches off your chest. That's all you need. That's all you need. And so this guy is working up to a 4. He's like, I got to get back to 405, and he's only going to bench it like that. He just has all these quotable moments, other than showing you how to bench with shitty form. And he had this like exaggerated arch that he wanted my friend to do. And my friend comes the next day, he's like, dude, my shoulder is busted up from benching like that. I'm not doing that ever again. And I was like, oh, I kind of warned you about that, but whatever. So terrible form advice, right? And then he would just have these, you know, my friend was on a cut, and he's like, you know, I'm only eating about 1,800 calories right now. You know, he's a very aggressive cut. He's just shaking his head. He's like, look, you can eat to fuel your muscle, or your muscle's gonna eat you, which is like the most boomer thing you could say. He's like, you need protein, 300 grams a day. And he's like, well, you know, all my meals are beef and rice. He's like, you got to eat peas, son. He's like, I don't like peas. He's like, all I eat is peas. I'll eat peas every meal all the time. I'll eat a full meal of peas, and I'll blow up this whole place. I'll blow up the bathroom. Nobody was talking about making bowel movements. And he just brings up, I'll eat all the peas, I'll blow up the bathroom, and send everyone home. Like, just unprovoked, goes on a rant about how peas are the best protein source, and he will shit in your bathroom and blow the whole place up after he eats some peas, which probably means that you're not digesting them, but whatever, over the head. So I've just had a lot of run-ins with boomers, and I think that they are fucking hilarious when you meet a boomer in the gym that they all broke records back in the day, you know what I'm saying? Like, men were just something else. Men were men back in the 80s. And they had access to video cameras, but these guys never had them, and they broke world records in their basement. Nobody ever saw. And they'll give you terrible form and dietary advice. And, you know, I met one guy that I was friends with that told me that a guy came up to him at the gym and asked him about his diet, and he goes, all you want to eat is ground beef and mac and cheese. That's all you need. Ground beef and mac and cheese. So, yeah, well, it's not too much to talk about as far as training goes all the time, so I figured I would share that story in case anybody else can relate to the gym boomer creatures.